So last week handled the beginning of the hypocrisy that I've been saying is a problem on Arrow all season. We still have the whole, they actually are locking people up without trial, but this episode handles a little more. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Arrow episode 21, Honor Thy Father. Oliver faces the forced release of dozens of violent criminals because Adrian Trace, like I said last week, was the DA, and that was some pretty good thinking on their part, a way to use the secret identities in a different way. Meanwhile, we still have the problem with Oliver's son, and all of this gets ratcheted up as we're racing towards the season finale. But before we get into too many specifics, let's throw this up there and get started. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. So our resident chess master, Adrian Chase, has sent a dead body to the capital, and Quentin and Wild Dog are currently trying to stop the fact that all of Chase's people that he put away are going to be released. So point blank, we have two problems coming into this episode, and that's before we even get to Team Arrow, because we have the criminals on the loose and we have the problems of the dead body, which implicates Father Queen. Now, Spartan and Oliver, still not in his Green Arrow outfit, go off to investigate and are almost buried alive, which appears to be the cause of death for this council member. And of course, long behold, yes, Oliver's father did it. Although, I'm kind of curious what the difference between the mass murder, the undertaking, and the individual murder that might actually be self-defense or God knows what, maybe even defense of other that the father had. I mean, there would have to be a whole investigation. But no, Oliver, of course, takes it worst case scenario. And that's what really brings up our theme for tonight's episode. Am I responsible for my father's crimes? And is my child going to be responsible for mine? Is it better to do the best you can, or to just give up and throw in the towel? Let's be honest, Oliver's dad threw in the towel, and at the same time, that's what Renee might be doing, or at least what he wants to do. He doesn't think he's good enough. He thinks that he not only failed the city, but he failed his daughter. And you could probably make a pretty decent argument about that. But at the same time, you have to wonder, are you better with the father in your life who is not so good and has some flaws, or are you better without that father in your life? However, going with the theme, I have to wonder a little bit about the symbolism. The fact that tonight Felicity tells Oliver, you need to put your past behind you. And for all intents and purposes, we are now looking at the part of the flashbacks where we've gotten to the first episode. Now, this kind of annoys me because we have the beard and the long hair are props when obviously they were always intended to be actually him growing them out. They even went a very long way throughout the flashbacks of keeping his hair and beard growing in such a way that they could go back to it. I do wonder at what point they decided to change that, and if you think that's a good idea. To be fair, I would like to address another elephant in the room. We always knew he was a Bratva captain right from the first season. We always knew he had those tattoos. We knew he had training that didn't really belong on the island. So people who say, oh, he should have been on the island the whole 5 years, I'm like, if you really look at it, that didn't make much sense either. Although the world hopping he did was a little crazy. And I don't think anyone could have sat there and said, oh, yes, he ended up in Russia and fighting the Russian mafia. That's how he got the tattoos. Or, the Amazo. But at the same time, again, I think they dropped something when they forgot that he was supposed to spend at least some time on the island. I always figured he'd go back at least for a year to try to hone his skills. And of course, we still have the whole Prometheus thing because, for all intents and purposes, he didn't even show up in this episode. And I'm still wondering what happened to the last Black Canary. After Chase fake snapped her neck, we haven't seen her. And the biggest question in my mind, since Adrian Chase is Vigilante in the comics, who is Vigilante, and what part does he play in all this? Is he just a throwaway MacGuffin, a red herring to keep us all on our toes? Well, we're going to have to wait for another couple of weeks to find out. Now, to be fair, I said Adrian Chase Prometheus almost doesn't show up in this episode. I say almost because he almost doesn't show up for the fight sequence, for God's sake. Oh, this guy that's been such a level threat against the Arrow the entire year just gets taken down by a few words, and not even words that were really earned. I am disappointed. Although I guess, to be fair, the first time Prometheus got taken out in the comics was kind of anti-eventful, too. Of course, who knows what the plan really is and what's going to happen next week. We're going to have to wait and see. In the meantime, we are celebrating our happy birthday because it's been about a year that I've been doing these videos. And I don't need a present, I just need a like, a share, and a subscription. Because I'm trying to build a community here, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. Let me know what you think down in the comment section, and we'll talk about things as they come up. I'd like to take this time to thank you all for helping me walk through the heart of the stories we tell. Have a good night.